Number 34 is one of those add or delete questions where sometimes we have a strong feeling whether or not we want to add this piece to a sentence or whether we think it sounds terrible and we want to omit it. But other times we don't have a strong feeling, and in those cases we really just want to default to the same strategies we use for the reading section. We're going to analyze these choices using process of elimination. And here's the thing is I don't have a strong feeling here, and it seems like everything could kind of carry on without it. It's kind of a long introduction, and I don't know, it doesn't feel like we're missing anything important here. In 2010, as a construction crew began to tear up sidewalks in New York City's South Street Seaport to replace a water pipe, Alyssa Luria and her team watched eagerly, picks and brushes in hand. Luria, an urban archaeologist, studies the history of cities. Okay, that seems like it's describing this weird thing, what an urban archaeologist is. So I don't feel confused about anything. And it continues. Any New York City construction project using municipal funds is required to consider whether historical artifacts will be affected during construction, and if that possibility exists or is possible, an urban archaeologist must be consulted. So again, this feels like we're kind of good. We don't need anything else. So maybe I would look at C and D first and just see if those reasons match. And here's the thing, is if I do have a strong feeling that I shouldn't include this, that's fine. But I need to prove the strong feeling by going through the choices and looking at those becauses and seeing if they make sense, right? The because parts of these choices are really, really important. So if we look at C, it says, no, we shouldn't add this because it does not give enough detail about the kinds of artifacts that urban archaeologists typically find. Well, yeah, it says that they are, how does it end? It studies the history of cities by excavating artifacts that have accumulated over centuries of land development. Okay, well, yeah, it doesn't give enough detail about the kinds of artifacts that urban archaeologists typically find, but why does it need to? That doesn't feel like a problem, right? We could say that if we wanted to, but it doesn't feel like we need to say that at this point, or that saying it would be bad. I'm not really sure. This just seems kind of like a random thought. I don't particularly care about the kinds of artifacts. They're introducing what an urban archaeologist is, so we don't really need to get that specific here. Let's look at D. No, because it's not explained how excavation benefits the study of a city's history. Now, we've seen in other reading questions on this test and others that word how is a strong word. It means something important on SATs, right? So what they're saying is we would want a long explanation of how excavation benefits the study of a city's history. Well, why do we need that? Right? The sentences seem to kind of flow as is, and I don't know that adding this is necessary, but it's certainly not like the problem is we should have added more. And I think that that's the issue with C and D, is both of them are saying that we shouldn't add this because it doesn't say enough. Whereas my personal feeling is that I don't really need this because I've already said all that I need to say. So adding more doesn't seem right. But both of the no choices here are saying no, we shouldn't just add what's here. We should add even more, a long explanation or a long list of artifacts. And that's wrong for the same reason that I don't want to add it. So this is making a problem worse, not better, by omitting this part. So I'm kind of forced into the A and B choices, and that's okay. That sometimes happens where maybe I have a feeling and it kind of gets overridden by the choices. That's okay. So let's look at A. Yes, we should add it because it helps set up the rest of the passage by explaining what urban archaeologists do. And yes, it does do that, right? It says what urban archaeologists do. They excavate artifacts that have accumulated over centuries of land development. You see how I can kind of like turn the choice into a question and then answer that question with the sentence? That's a good sign. That means that the ideas are matching up. Let's look at B, though. Yes, because it identifies the characteristics that make particular cities worthy of archaeological study. No, it does not do that. It does not mention particular cities. It does not mention particular characteristics. Again, this choice seems to want more out of these lines than is given to us. We don't want to get all specific about stuff. The whole point of this sentence is we're kind of just explaining what an urban archaeologist is. I thought that just saying that they're people who study histories of cities is good enough? Well, the choice seems to disagree and wants me to put a little bit extra there. But the thing is, it's just a little bit extra, and it is, I guess, clarifying what they do. And so, there we go. We pick A. And this also is kind of a bigger picture writing issue that I just want to throw out there. Sometimes we, the people answering the questions, are smarter than our own good. And so what happens is because we understand what they're saying and we get their point, sometimes we miss a grammar rule or we miss an ideas question like this one because we're like, I get it, I don't need more information, let's move on. And we just want to pick a choice like C and D without really thinking it through because we're like, no more information, let's cut it. But we read the becauses, turns out the reasons that they give are not great reasons, and that forces us to kind of include something. And yeah, maybe personally, if I were writing this essay, I would not have written the sentence that way. But remember, I'm not writing the essay. You're not writing the essay. You are critiquing someone else's writing. You are improving something that someone else has already said. And so we are limited in what we can do. And here we kind of just get forced into a choice, and that's okay. That's why we have process of elimination. It lets us follow a process and really analyze the choices instead of just going with our instincts.